Welcome into DC On Screen, the podcast that has been bringing you DC Multiverse news and reviews since 2015. I am your host, David C. Robertson, and this, the reindeer whose bright nose lights my way, Jason Goss.
I had a cold.
I figured your nose was red because of the booze.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Little burgundy, little NyQuil.
Yeah, just trying to snort it, clear my sinuses.
Oh, that's terrible.
Good work.
What is that? What is that called? Where people with the sinus issues take a pot and they pour it in their nose? What is that?
Neti pot.
Is that what it's called? Neti pot? Okay.
That's the brand that I remember.
I should probably get one of those, but I just can't imagine.
I think
looks terrible. Oh my god.
I think my parents got me to do it one time, and it was just kind of awful.
Yeah. All right. So, how was your holiday?
Yeah.
Your Christmas, your New Year.
Not bad.
All of that
went fast. I mean,
yeah. Mine didn't go fast, but it's okay. It's over now.
we kept it medium on the number of events and tried not to stress ourselves out. There were a lot of naps.
There has been some cool stuff that I wanted to talk about here on the show here. And by the way, James Gunn is going to drop something. He's going to announce part of the slate, the new DC slate, any day now. No idea when that's coming. So
these days now,
we're resting upon pins and needles.
Yep. Could be happening right now. I don't know. We've locked ourselves away.
In the meantime, James has been talking on Mastodon and Twitter, and again, I know a lot of people are upset with some of his choices so far, or what they think are his choices. I say this: I'm just very happy. I'm disappointed about Cavill, but I'm very happy that we've got somebody in there who is willing to debunk the rumors almost immediately.
Pretty much as they go, like within 24 hours a lot of time.
Now, he did respond to a fan on Mastodon asking about whether or not there would be coordination between films and comics. And Gunn said, I'm already working on this with my friend Jim Lee. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I mean, I'm curious what they're going to do, because usually the quote-unquote synergy between the movies and the comics are that for whatever reason, it's like mandated, or it seems like it is, for them to just draw Joker like Heath Ledger or whoever's in the movie right now.
Yeah. They just kind of vaguely look slightly more like that person for a minute there.
Yeah. Which is kind of lame, but whatever.
I mean, yeah.
So there was a news article over at Comic Book Resources that cited the scooper Daniel RPK. And we've been hearing about Daniel RPK for freaking years on this show. So Daniel said that the Green Lantern series, originally announced for premiere on the HBO Max streaming service, has been scrapped. And James Gunn quickly debunked it. He just said fake.
There you
go. There was a fan who noticed, or there were fans who noticed, that Gunn had some of Grant Morrison's Batman Omnibus and wondered if he was reading those for the new universe. And Gunn responded, yes, that's what they were. No, they weren't meant as a hint. 2 of the volumes, 2 and 3, just happened to be on my coffee table. Yes, I have read them a lot and loved them. Grant's Batman and Robin and their Superman are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it not being a hint. It would be okay if it was. All-Star Superman is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I mean, that one's easily top 4 or 5 max. Probably top 3 most days if you ask me.
Yeah. So there was a big report coming out of Variety, and they mentioned that Wonder Woman wouldn't be included in the upcoming slate. And let's see, the trade actually says, as 2023 kicks off, DC bosses Gunn and Safran continue to sift through the rubble and will soon reveal their 3-year interconnected vision for the cinematic universe, which will not include Cavill Superman or Wonder Woman at all.
I know the phrase sifting through the rubble can be seen as a bit of a
a dig.
jab. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like honestly,
In this case, I think it's completely
I actually
accurate.
think it's dead accurate reporting. Yeah. That one hurts because it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now someone kind of took one of these, like someone had re-reported on the Variety article and said Wonder Woman's not in the first slate, and a fan said, "Please debunk this," and James said, "I hereby debunk it, only because it's not true." So
Not by request.
I suppose we can ascertain that Wonder Woman has a spot in the early slate. Then,
Yeah.
so I guess that was the same. I think it was the same Variety article. It's getting hard to keep track. They claimed that some of the executives at Warner Brothers Discovery are reportedly open to keeping Ezra Miller as the Flash. Of course they are. If the movie is big, of course they'll keep Ezra.
If that thing makes a B, they're gonna keep it.
Yeah. Now
They may push it back, but you know, it often takes longer for a sequel to come back or to be made anyway after the first one. So like by that measure, they've got about 15 years to get Flash 2 out.
I mean, they're doing multiverse in Flash 1. What the hell are they going to do in Flash 2? Gorilla Grodd? Screw you. They're not doing that shit.
That'll be funny if they come out and say, this one's going to be a more down-to-earth chapter. And it goes, no, absolutely not.
But yeah, that Variety article also, by the way, claimed that they were prepping 3 years worth of projects. And this fan on Twitter says, "Can you discuss at all the report from Variety in regards to Ezra Miller / the notion that your slate is only 3 years worth of projects?" And James says, "I don't know what's out there about Ezra, but our slate is 8 to 10 years. But we will only be announcing some of it this month."
Yeah.
And then on the 5th, James Gunn wrote, "My day. Wrote a third of an unannounced DC TV show. Okayed 100 VFX shots, did reference acting for Rocket, and gave editing notes for Volume 3, and had 2 big DC Studios meetings." And he had the little gif of the little girl like asleep, sliding behind the merry-go-round.
Yeah. I remember that one, actually.
That's fair.
Now that you mention it.
But good Lord, unannounced DC TV show. Ah, yes. He's writing so much.
Yeah.
I do like James Gunn's writing. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
No, I'm not at all. I've enjoyed it. Deal with it.
And this was exciting. Not really news, but exciting. And I'll tell you why in a second. Someone asked him, "Did you enjoy Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow?" It's one of my favorites. And James Gunn says, so much. I mean, Tom King is just the greatest. That is exciting to me because in my head, I'm like, what was Tom King just doing? Oh yeah, New Gods with Ava DuVernay, and then they canceled it.
Yeah, I think that canceled. That was canceled pre-Discovery, I think.
Yes, it was, and they blamed Zack Snyder's Justice League for it.
That's right.
They said because it featured Darkseid and Tom King, and Tom King was kind of hinting at the fact that it was going to be tied in with Snyder's stuff very, very closely. So
had to get rid of that.
Yeah, then they blamed it, and they're like, well, we were going to do it, but then Zach had to use Darkseid, so, I mean, guess we can't do this movie now.
Yeah.
All right, so...
These are frustrating little moments.
Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah, we can't have the one thing we want because the other thing we want would interfere with the things we want. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And a fan on Twitter told James Gunn, "You need to read this book." And it was like a picture of Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by Kelly Sue DeConnick. James responded, "Love it, and Kelly Sue." And then Kelly Sue DeConnick replied with a picture of her and James Gunn with the caption, "Maestro."
So we're gonna
wonder what Wonder Woman 3 is gonna be.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that she used Maestro.
Yeah, that's going to confuse a lot of people.
Yeah. Which apparently when Momoa said it, he wasn't even talking about DC. Supposedly.
But, I mean, hey, Doesn't that just help his point? So many people using that very specific, underused term.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely do not know the last time that came up in my life in the real world.
I have no idea. I mean, I guess it
Not a clue.
I guess it does kind of often for me, but I'm a Seinfeld fan, and there was like a whole arc with a character who demanded to be called Maestro.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds rough and narcissistic.
Mm-hmm. That was the point. He was a composer, and but
At least there's that. At least his job was composer, because it's about the only time I would ever even begin to entertain the idea of calling somebody that.
It was something like a policeman's orchestra or something. It was, I don't remember the specifics, but
yeah,
there's a point where Jerry calls him Bob, and he just gets very upset, and they have to pull Jerry aside. They're like, he's very upset with you. Why? You called him Bob. Oh, because I didn't call him Maestro.
Yeah.
We know people like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've known 2 people in my life that insist on being called Legend, or the Legend.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were one of them, weren't you?
No.
Oh, good,
God.
good.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I know we've been friends for over a decade now, but that might end it.
No, if you found out there was a period of that, no.
Well, I don't know. If you were young enough, that might just be a really fun thing to bug you with.
Yeah, but I'd have to be like 18. I mean, just young.
You would have, I mean,
Old enough to be
18.
groping for a personality, but too young to be doing it correctly.
Yeah, you're groping for personality and titties. You're like 15 years old,
Yeah.
and you're just desperate for some sort of attention.
Yeah. Called myself the Legend. I had a mullet.
Uh-huh. So Shazam star Zachary Levi did a live stream, and he said some interesting things people are upset about.
Lovely.
He says, I'm not the boss. I have no idea what the heck is ultimately going on, but I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that, listen, I loved Walter Hamada. I loved him as a boss. I love him as a human being, and I hope to work with him wherever he goes. But I couldn't have hand-chosen 2 better people to be the people that are now helping to guide where the DC universe is going. Talking about Gunn and Safran.
Yeah.
At this point right now, I'm still the character. I have not had any outgoing conversations with the bosses. We have a movie that's literally coming out in March. I have no idea what's going to ultimately happen to me. I think I'm in a pretty good position. Of course, a lot of people. He also begged for fans to stop threatening James Gunn and being vitriolic and hateful.
Yeah.
Which we've done. I can't say I agree with Zachary on Walter Hamada, but I don't know Walter Hamada.
Not as a person. As a businessman, I think he misstepped many times. Let's put it that way. To be kind.
Yeah, I agree.
In reference to Zachary's kind words, I'll keep it to that.
Mm-hmm.
But Zach, I mean, Levy's one of those that, like, man, he just wants everyone to calm down and get along. That's all. Every time I've ever seen the guy, every interview I've ever seen with him, if you get like in depth in some capacity, it's always basically, I used to be a kind of way. I've done a lot of therapy. I wish everyone would do that, and I wish we'd all just be better people. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how he rolls, which is great.
It's just, it's funny though, because all of that just opened the floodgates of hatred onto him.
Oh, I'm certain. Yeah.
He's a shill. He's trying to get in good with the bosses, trying to save his job. He's a mushroom, kept in the dark and fed shit all day. I'm like, good Lord.
I hadn't heard that one in a while. You almost lost me with mushroom.
Yeah, it's an old one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Batgirl directors, Arby and Falah, they said that we're fans of DC, and if we ever get the chance in the future to do something in that universe, we're never going to say no. I mean, of course, our only condition is that the movie needs to come out. Well played.
Yeah. Yeah. Line 1 of contract. Movie must actually be released upon completion.
You wouldn't think that should be, but, you live and you learn.
Yeah. But I'm starting to see more and more, little arguments on Twitter from people, writers on Twitter suggesting stuff along those lines. Like, if they keep doing this, it's going to really show up in the next round of negotiations with, WGA and SAG.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're wrong about that. Like, because, Stephen DeKnight's the one I saw the most writing out of him, like, pretty much trying to explain to people that back-end points are just deferred payment, not like extra special money you weren't expecting. Like, that's not how this works. It's not just a bonus. It's not supposed to be just, yeah.
Yeah.
The upfront money is supposed to be more of a down payment. And, Anyway, point was, they're getting mad over in the writing and, acting world about that stuff now.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame them.
Oh, yeah.
At the same
people's
time,
money, typically it causes bad feelings.
Yeah. So on Thursday, The Wrap reported that Warner Brothers Discovery will be debuting the new Flash trailer during Super Bowl, whatever it is now.
Uh-huh.
What is LVII? What is that one?
Oh, God, I don't know.
What is L? I don't know what L is. I know what VII is.
57, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember what L was.
I couldn't I can't even hear myself say 57 over whatever jackass was just driving around behind you. But that was really fitting to be talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no. We've got 2 motorcycles in the neighborhood now with illegal mufflers who think that they need to, like, blast up and down the street.
That's adorable.
Yeah. All hours, too.
Yeah. Real cute.
But yeah.
I'm sure he's a real winner.
Both of them look like jackasses to me. But
sounds right.
So yeah, the February 12th, 2023, the Flash film will be, the Flash film will have a trailer on the Super Bowl. It's a kind of a big deal. It's been like 17 years since they've really done anything with the Super Bowl at Warner Brothers. The last one was V for Vendetta, Poseidon, and 16 Blocks during the 2006 game. So
BVS had some commercials, but they were real low key.
Well, they were like tied in though with other bullshit. Like Wonder Woman 1984 had like a Tide ad campaign.
There was that. It was really
like stuff like that.
But I thought I remembered like the whatever airline where Bruce Wayne was the endorsed sponsor or something was in. I want to say that was in Super Bowl. Right.
Yeah, but it wasn't like an actual trailer.
Yeah,
it was a tie-in ad. But they actually haven't had like a trailer apparently in 17 years, which is crazy to me. And I'm happy that they're going to do this. Like, look, I've said this before. I'll say it now. I feel like one of Warner Brothers' biggest problems with DC is that they don't advertise enough. I just think that's true. Like,
speaking of, I do not remember. Well, until you just reminded me that it was vaguely March. Had you asked me, I could not possibly have told you when Shazam was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hope it gets a commercial sometime soon.
Yeah. Marvel, on the other hand,
I have seen Ant-Man in every trailer I have been to, or every movie I've been to.
Yeah.
For the last 6 months, I feel like.
I popped a zit on my butt and a freaking Marvel ad came out.
Yeah, it'll be like that.
It's like a little picture of T'Challa. Yeah. I said, remember. I said, damn it. Yeah.
We actually have a Paul Rudd puzzle in the house, and it mysteriously reappeared recently.
Yeah.
We actually do have a Paul Rudd puzzle. You should see it if you haven't. It has a real uncanny valley effect going on. Like, It looks like someone took, I don't know how to describe how it doesn't look right, but it's very much Paul Rudd's face without it all being Paul Rudd's face.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. It's like someone vaguely remembering him in the middle of a nightmare or something.
Ugh.
I'm excited to put it together one day.
I'm gonna dream about that now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Marvel does all the things. They never let you forget that there's a Marvel movie coming out. So I think DC needs to do the same. You compete.
I do wonder though how much that comes down to the same drum I've been pounding on this whole time. Is like, do they have the money? Do they fucking have the money?
Well, they're not going to if they don't advertise.
I'm aware. I know there's two edges on that sword, but like, yeah.
All right, well, That's all I've got for movie news. Do you want to head to a break and then we come back? We can talk about Colin Farrell and Penguin and all the season 9 Flash stuff that's coming out and our listener feedback.
I do like that. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff.
I'm going to have a sip of my Diet Grapico.
I'm going to go pee.
That's fair.
It's starting to hurt.
Salutations, my fellow food lovers. This is Chef Mark here from Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, and I want to tell you about our filet Oscar. This premium filet is topped with Johnny's lump crab cake, grilled asparagus, and our signature béarnaise sauce. But the start to any great night always begins with a killer appetizer. And I recommend trying out our jumbo pan-seared sea scallops with Brussels sprout slaw tossed in Johnny's hot bacon dressing. It is so good. I know that you will love my filet Oscar as much as I love preparing it. So come to Johnny's tonight. Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, Village Point Shopping Center, Omaha.
When you buy Kroger brand products, you feel like you're winning. That's because they offer proven quality at lower than low prices. In fact, we guarantee that you and your family will love how Kroger brand products taste, or you get your money back. So next time you're shopping for the family, look for delicious Kroger brand products, because they'll make you all feel like you're winning. Shop now, in-store, or online. Bakers, fresh for everyone.
And we're back. See, Colin Farrell was talking to Variety and said that the Penguin will begin production in February and will take 5 or 6 months to shoot, which would put the wrap time around summer of 2023. You excited for that TV series, man?
I think so. I mean,
I'm very, very interested.
Very much excited about the character, and Colin killed it. And
he did.
Like I said, I think I said this to you or somebody the other day, but like I just keep forgetting how good he is. I still just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I have no idea what to imagine the plot is. And that's the only thing that I'm not dubious. I just don't know what they're doing with it yet.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to be doing like, clearly they're shooting for like, they've said before they're shooting for like Penguin's rise to power following the power vacuum in Gotham after the Batman. But man, I kind of do want to see like flashbacks as well.
Yeah.
And I want to see the prosthetic. I want to see him go from like a youngish Colin Farrell to the Penguin that we saw in the Batman.
Yeah, that would be hard to do though, because Colin Farrell, like, he still looks like young in features, but he's showing age these days. So it'd be hard to like go back and
he is. Yeah.
You'd have to de-age him a little bit to get him, 20 years old, just breaking his first set of kneecaps. It could be done, I guess, though.
Yeah. Over to the Arrowverse, the Flash announced a number of characters coming back for the final season. And I'm excited about this, man. Like, I am as excited about this as I am about the Arrowverse finally winding down.
I did want it to eventually have an ending, is all. Like,
yeah. Or if not an ending, like a sunset to run into.
Something.
As they say. Now,
can't go forever.
John Diggle's coming back, though.
Mm-hmm.
Kenyon Lonsdale as Wally West. He's coming back.
Good.
We already know Javicia Leslie is coming back as Batwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Ramsey Rosso, who played Bloodwork in season 7, is coming back. I'm less excited about him. I didn't care for his character.
Not particularly.
But the big get, Stephen Amell is returning as Green Arrow.
Yeah, I saw that one. He had a tweet the other day of it was the back of his on-set chair, the Flash logo, and Stephen Amell at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said it's an honor to be back or something.
Yeah, he's posted a couple of different things, and like one of the things was like a gif of him hugging Barry, and it said, "Of course I'm coming back." I'm like,
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So as much as I am the guy who's like, it's awful these days. Yeah, but I'm excited about this. Like the Arrowverse did some things really, really well for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping for that Legends of Tomorrow announcement. Come on, bring us a couple of characters back. Let's wrap it up. Let's have Barry like go hang out with some legends for a second.
Yeah, and let them actually finish their story.
I don't even need him to finish the story. Like, I just need him to be like, yeah. Perfect example for me is when the X-Files did that spinoff, The Lone Gunman, which was a fantastic show if you never saw it.
I did see a little bit of it.
Most people didn't see any of it because it was like, like a mid-season low run and got canceled.
Yeah.
But it ended on a cliffhanger. In a previous season, they had done a story where Mulder, there was some sort of like warp test or something, and Mulder winds up in a Freaky Friday situation with Michael McKean, who was playing this sleazy-ass CIA agent, or whatever he was. I think he wound up being CIA, but at some point, but he worked for Area 51, and it was a whole thing. So, like, Mulder's dream come true. Like, finally, he's in the body of someone who works at Area 51. And Michael McKean, of course, killed it. But they did a thing where the lone gunman tried to break into Area 51, and they're met with Michael McKean. And that was the cliffhanger ending of The Lone Gunman. So I think it was like season 8 of X-Files. Like, Mulder shows up for like a few episodes in that season. And one of the times is like he just shows up with the lone gunman, and they're in the same clothes they were when Michael McKean caught them. And of course, one of them had like blue paint on his face with the dots so that he could like trick the facial recognition. And he still had all of that on. And they're like, what is happening? And they're like, don't ask. So like clearly Mulder just like went and saved their asses somehow and like moved on with his day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that, but honestly, like, I would really love for them to bring Donald Faison as Booster Gold back, because I was really excited about that. And he did a great job in the episode he was in of Legends.
Yeah, that's one of the disappointments for me of not having caught up on those shows, because I'm like 3 years behind now.
Yeah. But the episode before the final episode of Legends, the penultimate episode, as it were, really worked as a fantastic series finale.
Yeah.
It's just they ended it on a cliffhanger. Yeah. So I really don't need much more than a wink and a nod, really.
Yeah, just have someone pop over just for a little bit of, fan service, have a fan favorite, couple people show up for half a second and say, oh, yeah, we got that sorted. Okay, cool. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
They could literally almost say that for a lot of how Legends treated their stuff. What about you had a whole prop? Yeah, we got that sorted. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. All right, and it looks like Harley Quinn Season 4 has been confirmed for 2023 on HBO Max. They were included in a 2023 trailer. So I'm excited. That's looks like it's on top of the Valentine's Day special that they're doing very soon.
Which
they're putting out.
Beautiful. And if it's not there, apparently we can sue them.
Well, I guess technically the footage they showed could have been from the Valentine's Day special.
Possibly, but I better see it show up somewhere.
You know what? I'm a little bit on board with that.
Yeah, I'm really on board spiritually, but not like mechanically, if that makes any sense.
Like I'm fine with trailers omitting things, like like how Marvel takes out the other Spider-Men or whatever, so we don't know Toby and Andrew are going to be there.
Yeah,
but yeah, when they're just like putting in jokes and stuff that are not going to be in the trailer, showing actors who aren't in the actual film, it's sort of like it feels a lot. That feels like a lot like when you go to like Walmart or whatever, and you see some 1980s movie that a current day star had about 2 seconds in.
Yeah. So now they're the one shot now.
Yeah. And it's like Tom Cruise in, and you're like, no.
Tom Cruise in the background of this movie for a second.
Yeah. The Snowman's Titties 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, he's not. He was a paper boy, and the real star was some guy that we've never heard of before.
Well, have you seen a clip going around that I see it recycled all the time of some documentary that's being shot, and like George Lucas literally just walks through the background on the sidewalk?
No.
He just walks across the sidewalk, and you see him kind of do a double take because there's like cameras there. And he just sort of realizes, like, oh, they're not here for me. And he just walks into whatever office he was walking into casually. No one there seems to notice or care. But it's very, very much George Lucas. I mean, he's like 12 feet away from the person, walking down the... It's that shot where somebody's walking down the sidewalk and talking, narrating, And it feels like it's... A lot of those 80s cheat sheets like that feel like that's what you're actually going to see. It's like this so-and-so documentary starring George Lucas. And it's him confusedly being in the background for half a second and going into what looked like his bank.
Yeah. But,
It's him on the way to the dentist.
I want to see that lawsuit happen where someone bought the $5 movie at Walmart and they're like, Jennifer Aniston wasn't in this at all.
Yeah.
It was just a leprechaun the whole time.
Right.
All right. So we got some listener feedback. Giuseppe Vicaretti, Juice, as we call him, one of our patrons, longtime listener, writes in, says, keeping Ezra? Hey guys, it's been a while since I've messaged y'all. Life is life. I'm sure you'll be talking about this in some way in your next episode, but one question I have that I'd love to hear the answer to on the air is, why can't we have Grant Gustin as the Flash? I'm sure there are other good choices out there, but we've all seen Gustin's charisma and acting chops as Barry Allen / The Flash, and though I'm sure there's a lot to consider when moving an actor from TV to film, but how difficult is it exactly? We have some examples of TV turned to film actors in our time, and if it's just the popularity aspect of it, then it should be a no-brainer, right? I say we start our own hashtag campaign, hashtag Grant Gustin is my Flash. Who's with me? Thanks for reading and answering if you choose to answer on air. Talk to you soon, Juice. Dude, thank you so much for your support, and thanks for your question. First, I do love Grant. I just got my, last month, I got the Flash Season 7 Grant Gustin figure from McFarlane Toys. I have him next to Stephen Amell's Harley Quinn here in the Dave Cave. But we have to consider whether or not, first of all, Grant would even want to play the Flash in films. Because we know he and his wife just had a baby in August of 21. And we've gotten several reports over the last couple of years that Grant wanted the Flash to end in Season 7 and in Season 8 and obviously in Season 9. I think he needs the break.
Yeah.
Those are long-ass hours on that show.
I mean, there are, but movies much less taxing than 20 episodes in Vancouver. So there's a possibility that he'd be more open to that. But honestly, I just think not yet, even if he wanted to.
Yeah. I also don't see a way to bring Grant's Flash in without dragging the whole Arrowverse into the movies. And we know this cast wants to leave. Candace Patton has said as much.
Most of
the other characters we really loved on the show have already left the show. And they've left us with these weird copycat characters that replace them.
Yeah.
So I think if you bring Grant without his cast, the 820,000 viewers will not be happy. And that is how many viewers Season 8 averaged. 820,000 viewers an episode. It isn't a lot of people, man.
No, and that legit used to be about 2.5 million.
Yeah, the show has been steadily losing viewers for years.
As every show does. I mean, it's how this works. Even still, like, it's not that it's not possible in a writing sense. Like, you could definitely make an argument that since Flash is, that Flash is the only one who's ever even touched the hem of another universe, really, that, well, he could easily pop back over and be by himself, and that would be, justifiable. Yeah. But like you're saying, I think it would just beg for more in a way that's not going to be productive.
Right. And if he goes into another universe, but he's without his cast, then that's not a happy ending for the Arrowverse people, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at the numbers, I do think the popularity aspect is a no-brainer, but I think it's in the opposite direction of what you think it is, because there's very little popularity now. If they had done this like early on in the run and got people excited about all the CW shows being included, maybe, but not now. Like, Arrowverse really does seem to be winding down. Third, I do want to point out that yes, they could say he just looks like the Arrowverse Barry, but he's not actually Arrowverse Barry. But I think bringing him in would cause confusion, muddy the waters. Like, if he showed up briefly as Arrowverse Flash in a multiverse tale, that would be amazing. That's one thing. But the general audience, and let's face it, a lot of fans will not understand he's a different version than the Arrowverse version. And whoever doesn't make it to the silver screen from the Arrowverse is going to piss people off.
A little bit. It's also such a small amount of the viewers in general are aware of the kind of the really any of the intricacies of the Arrowverse. So like the best place I could put it is if there was a little sliver of a cameo in like the new Flash film, you could sneak that in, no harm, no foul. I mean, if you got it, you got it. If you didn't, it's gone in a few seconds. Who cares? Like, It would be a little Easter egg for you to unravel later. Oh, that was from the show. I knew there was that show, you know. But there are there are people that I know that you've run across these people. I know we've talked about them. Like, huge fans of these movies, and then you bring up anything from CW, and like, I've never seen any of that. I mean, who's in there?
Yeah.
Like, never seen one episode of any single thing. It is a very segregated viewership in a lot of ways. Like, the Venn diagram doesn't overlap nearly as much as it feels like if you watch both of them.
Yeah. And you know, look, if they did Spider-Man No Way Home and Toby shows up and you're all excited for half a second, and then they try to explain, well, like, oh, I'm not like Toby from this universe that you know. I'm Toby from another. Man, that doesn't work. Like, you've lost me, and I'm a fan who understands it. Like, you know, if you're gonna have Grant, you just got to be Arrowverse Grant, honestly. And the other thing is I like Ezra as the Flash. Like, nothing scandalous has come out in a pretty long time. They apologize for their behavior. They're taking their meds. They're going to therapy. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Plus, as we talked about before, a lot of that stuff that was coming out was hyperbole, sensationalism, and honestly, bigotry.
Well, and then there was a giant chunk of just obscenely false claims and mixed in. Like,
and like when you look at those police reports, it is not the same story that those headlines
very much does not read like that headline. Not at all.
Yeah. So, and the
really
new
bad
movie
press
is
that they should have avoided, but
yeah. And the new movie is supposedly testing very, very well. Reports are saying that it's getting scores along the lines of The Dark Knight. So I do think in this case, the transition from TV to film may be incredibly difficult. There is a lot of baggage that comes along with Grant. We've got 36 or 37 seasons worth of baggage, plus a kid who needs her dad.
Yeah.
I'm good with letting Grant go as the primary Flash.
It'd have to be at least for a couple of years, honestly, just to regroup his life.
But I would love to see him pop up as in a cameo with Ezra, or, even like a third act situation where like, him and John Wesley Shipp team up with Ezra and run around doing something. That would be cool.
If I got to dream up my ideal scene, it would be that Ezra's running around and sort of accidentally stumbles upon Grant and is like, "Oh, you again?"
Yeah.
And they do like hell, even have him do the Spider-Man point or something. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Andre Sparks writes us and says, grabbing new, but grabbing from the past. Hey guys, so I think you have heard that Michael Rosenbaum and Stephen Amell want to join the DCU. Just wanted to get your thoughts. What other Smallville or Arrowverse actors would you want to join the DCU, and as who? Can't wait to hear your thoughts. P.S. I listened to the last cast, and when you guys said I was too cool for school, I laughed because I'm a teacher. I try to be the cool young teacher too. I hope you guys had a great holiday season pending when you read this. Well, I hope you had a great one too, Andre. Andre listens to both of my casts and has been writing in a lot. And I really appreciate that and enjoy hearing from Andre.
Yeah. Feedback generally makes this whole thing a lot more fun.
It does.
Even the bad ones are kind of fun sometimes.
Oh, they are. Rosenbaum and Amell won in. I get it. And for reasons similar to what I just said to Juice, I think that would wind up muddying the waters a bit too much for them to show up as the characters they have already played, unless it's in some sort of a crisis situation.
Yeah. Although, in all fairness, I think it'd be much more if they played someone else.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with like, legacy casting them into like cameo roles.
Yeah.
I'd rather see them as their Arrowverse characters in a Crisis sort of adaptation, though.
Yeah. I mean, not really. If I'm like I said again, if I'm just fantasizing here, it's going to be just let it breathe for a couple years, let Gunn get his feet planted, and then let Safran make some calls. Safran, I keep wanting to make him an herb. Yeah, or a spice, whatever that is. I don't use saffron a lot. But yeah, like let the situation get planted a little bit, and then if it's Gunn in charge of the creative direction, I fully expect it to get weird and fast. So just let that start to bloom a little bit, and then we can probably play around with some of these fun little possibilities. But like right now, I think it would just be more what that reporter called rebel to sort through.
Yeah, I do think out of everyone in the Arrowverse that I want to see, isn't even really technically from the Arrowverse. I want to see Brandon Routh come back playing Superman, coming off of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, I want to see his Superman Returns version of his character continuing the story from Crisis, where he's got like the Kingdom Come, or it's like the post Kingdom Come idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last bit of feedback
would have been a fun way to kickstart the new version is to just have all the actual Snyder casting in there post fighting Magog or something, and just have them training the new generation, and just almost have it be like a what's that league that's in like the year 3000?
Oh God.
You'd know immediately if I hadn't just asked you.
Yeah.
And I would know if I hadn't asked myself. Fucking brains. Not braining.
Have you seen the little Spider-Man
Legionnaires? Legionnaires.
Oh yeah.
Like start
the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. Kind of spin it off into some version that's like that, but just keep it more terrestrial in our sense of the word, and kind of a Justice League 2 kind of vision.
Yeah. What is, like, have you seen the
God, how many people were just yelling at us over there? Like,
I know. Have you seen a little Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse meme where Peter's pointing at Miles, and instead over Miles' head it says ADHD, and Peter's saying they can do things exceptionally well and inhumanely fast. Watch this. And ADHD says, I can't do it on command. They can't do it on command. That's yeah. Don't come at me with some kind of question like that. I'm like, I don't know anything about DC. I've only been reading it for 30 years.
Barely gotten started.
We got one bit of feedback coming to us here. It comes to us from Dr. Steve of Weird Medicine.
Oh, hey.
He's been with us from the beginning.
Yeah.
A beloved patron.
A good bloke.
And a friend.
You've heard it many times.
Yeah.
Sometimes hated a certain version.
He shared out our show on his Twitter account and said, if you're interested in the drama that is the DC Universe and James Gunn, this is the best, most well-reasoned discussion I have seen and heard anywhere. Dude, everyone, if you're not a hypochondriac, if you're not going to convince yourself you have every damn thing they're discussing on their show, go check out Weird Medicine.
Absolutely.
I am one of those people.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there listening to Dr. Steve, and I'm just like, all right, 10 minutes was enough. I can't do it.
I did have a rash on my lower thigh last week.
Yeah, I'm like,
no,
I'm clutching my throat.
Ketchup on your leg. What?
I'm clutching my throat. I'm trying to shift cartilage in my nose. You know, like everything is happening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Steve.
Absolutely. I wish I remember whatever we must have said that sounded so cogent. If only I could recall.
It's a sad day in hell when no, it's a sad day when people are saying that we're the most well-reasoned discussion they've heard in reference to DC. And I believe it, but also that's so sad.
I mean, I don't like it for the state of us all in general. Yeah. But there again, I typically trust my own reasoning because I have to. in order to survive. Like,
Well, you know, I think part of it is, you know, we've been doing this since 2015, man. We've, you know, seen and heard studio executives saying, like, this doesn't exist. This will never happen. Okay. And then it happened.
yeah.
Over and over again, be it ill or good. It happened.
Hook or crook.
You know, so I don't necessarily trust that, like, I've learned to kind of read into some things, you know, the way like Cavill's wording was a little more concrete. Same time, means nothing. Zachary Levi said that there was no Snyder cut, you know. I'm sure he was told to say that. Everyone, like all the heads said it does not exist. It existed. It's out. You can go watch it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So
Looking
like,
back, one of the funnier moments, really, in that whole saga of like actors saying it does or doesn't exist. Looking back, my favorite has to be Momoa. Just being asked, well, how do you know? Because I've watched it.
Yeah.
And the reason I like that so much is because it is Momoa. And he does very much have the look of someone that I would not like to be caught alone with in an alley. Like, I don't think I would like to personally piss off that man.
He also looks like the kind of guy that you would like to be caught alone with in an alley.
He's very much McSteamy for some people. But for me, that not quite being my taste, I just sort of like... And don't get me wrong, the other part of that kind of look is, and I know a ton of people like this, that look like that. Like if you saw them on your Ring doorbell or something like that, I don't know if I need to let this dude in. And then you do, and in 10 minutes, you're like, I'm inviting this man to my wedding. He's delightful. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Have a glass of something, sir. Stay as long as you like. It's kind of like how you meet like guys who are metalheads, like, and they're just the most delightful, kind, caring motherfuckers you've ever met.
Yeah. It's like some big Brian Posehn looking dude comes in, just Metallica rules, and he's your best friend for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah. Or, I mean, how many clips have you seen of like a metal concert where, you know, someone gets injured for a second, the entire crowd stops. They're just a second ago singing about how much they're embracing death, and then like one dude faints and like, oh, everyone stop, get him medical attention, come on, get up here. The entire crowd cooperates. Everyone's on board. Like,
yeah,
there are people handing him bottles of water. You okay, buddy? I got you. We're gonna get you. We're gonna be okay. 10 minutes later, roar. You know.
Yeah.
Come after me, Dark Lord, roar. You know.
My sweet Satan.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm not a fan of the music too much. I mean, I'll listen to it occasionally just for shits and giggles, but I love the vibe over there.
I listen to it to stay awake when I'm driving, but
Yeah, I can see that.
other than that, you know, I really do. Like, it cracked me up because, like, in college, I was literally there was a point where I was like driving, and I was like so sleepy, I was passing out, and like I cranked up the AC and started blasting metal music to stay awake. And then like the next week, I was watching Justice League, the animated series, and Batman is trying to stay awake because of that Dream Lord character. And he like cranks up the AC, and I think he hits metal, and then he's just like, no. And he turns it to something really cheery, and it just like angers him awake.
I'm pretty sure I remember that song. And it's like, sun shines and lollipops. La, da, 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 da,
Yeah. It like literally angers him awake.
Like grips the steering. Like you see the steering wheel bend, it feels like, in my head at least, in my memory.
Yeah. The eyes squint, you know.
That's when he like, that's the episode where he just walks into a diner, full drab, all the lights in the world, coffee. Like all of the coffee.
I don't know what we were getting at. Oh yeah, I was just saying, you know, the way Gunn described what happened between Cavill and what is going on with his production seems suspect at best. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in we're not getting the whole story.
Yeah.
Cool your heels and let's see what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
So
I'm also my speculation muscles are wee exhausted after all this time. So there's a large part of me that's cooled down on this stuff just out of self-preservation. That if I spent all of my time doing that, what I would accidentally end up doing is spending all of my time spreading my hopes and dreams in places that didn't have any real purchase. So it has been, I've found, a lot better for me just to see something acknowledge, just like you said, I don't think that's the whole story. And then just kind of wait and see what else develops from it before I get, particularly pointed emotionally in any direction.
Yeah. And, like I said, I said a couple weeks ago, everyone who was upset and saying, he got rid of Cavill, restore the Snyderverse. My brother in Christ, as they say on the internet.
I do like that phrase.
I do. Henry Cavill being included was never an assurance that Zack Snyder was.
No, in fact, it's my argument for why it ultimately wasn't included. Like that is still what I'm sticking to as my current explanation for why Cavill at the last minute was excluded, is because bringing him on begets too much.
Mayhap. Mayhap it do. We'll see. We'll see who sticks around.
The expectations following it would be too grand. And I think there's a little bit of this where I think Gunn kind of wants to prune the fanship a little bit, because I've seen him openly talk about a certain aspect of the fandom, and he's very much referring to Snyder Bros. Like
not negative. I mean, not all Zack Snyder fans.
No, I think maybe Snyder Bros isn't even the right word, but like the toxic ass version of those assholes.
Yeah.
The ones who just, if it's not this, everyone else can burn in hell. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Was Snyder Bros the first term everyone was using for that? I can't remember.
I don't know. I always just say the cult, because
maybe that could work too. I do tend to keep my toes out of that water though. Like, I don't really want to go in there.
Yeah, it's difficult because I love the Zack Snyder stuff.
Dearly.
I want more Zack Snyder stuff.
I accidentally watch Man of Steel all the time. I really do mean accidentally, because I'll be like, I'm just going to watch a couple scenes. I'll just watch a couple scenes and do laundry. An hour and a half later, not one thing folded, and I'm in tears.
Yeah. So I just don't like the vitriol. I don't like the narrow-mindedness of certain members of the fan base.
Yeah. I mean, there was too much vitriol. There was too much leaping, dogpiling on people that weren't. I mean, yeah, it is cultish behavior when it comes down to it. Just, if you're not fighting for this cause, you're absolutely fucking worthless. Get out. You're not a real fan. It's gatekeepers at their worst, really. Yeah,
it's the Westboro Baptist Church of Snyderverse fans.
It kind of is.
They don't listen to the guy they pretend to worship.
Yeah, yeah, very much. I would be amazed if we actually were offending anyone right now, because I don't think any of those people really listen to us.
I don't think so at this point. I would be surprised, but
I mean, reach out if you find yourself conflicted, because I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Zach over here saying the Batman looks cool, and then people are like, "Fuck that!
Yeah,
oh, it looks awful. If you watch the Batman, you're not a Snyder fan." I'm like, Zack Snyder is going to watch it.
Yes, probably a few times.
He said it looks cool. I don't understand. Anyway, thank you for listening.
And it was decidedly cool. I'm sure he enjoyed watching a really good film.
Yeah, it was a great alternate take on Seven. I say that jokingly somewhat, but I do have all the action figures here. I did enjoy the movie. Don't stab me.
Reinvigorated my hit or miss love for Nirvana.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you had the same take on it, but like, of all the 90s bands, Nirvana was really not the one I gravitated towards at all. I didn't hate them by any stretch. They weren't the ones I had all the CDs of.
I do.
You do?
I have all their CDs. I like Nirvana a lot, but they don't even. I mean, they're not in my top 20.
Yeah, but in the grunge era, they're probably top something for you if you actually have all the albums.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but grunge doesn't really.
But that's another point. For you, grunge isn't top whatever as a genre.
Which is, it's funny because like at this point in my life, my favorite band is Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Who would have qualified as like late grunge era.
Yeah. And but you hit my top 20 and it's probably going to be something, roughly like Foo Fighters, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Bob Dylan, Ben Folds, Fiona Apple, like I've got like a wide range of things that I really enjoy, like dearly.
Yeah.
And to me, Nirvana always just sounds like I have all their albums, but I like their stuff, but it's also just like oh, that thing that Dave did before. You know? I know this is probably sacrilege. I don't give a shit.
I do get asked that a lot. It's like, if you can somehow make sense of like Beatles, Tool, Nine Inch Nails, Pinback, which no one's heard of, and maybe Arctic Monkeys, who a lot more people have.
Yeah.
Whatever genre that is. That's me.
Yeah. And you've turned me on to some cool stuff from the 90s, like Failure. Like,
oh man, they were so good.
And since becoming your friend, I've actually started liking Stone Temple Pilots a fair amount more, but I still like their new stuff better.
STP?
Yeah, where they sound like Avett Brothers.
Well, I mean, that was funny though. Like I heard that last album and from a couple years ago, and thought like, I did not know they could find a singer that sounded that close to Scott Weiland, but they very much had to go in a certain direction with the music for it to be the kind that matched him. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it wasn't a bad album, but it wasn't. It wasn't Tiny Music. It wasn't number 4, Purple.
Mm-hmm. But
man, those were a killer.
Yeah, you want to wrap it?
Yeah, I suppose we can.
Yeah, all right. We're tangenting hard.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for listening. Hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at DC On Screen. Email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and do whatever the hell you do over there these days. Patreon.com/DC On Screen to join the hallowed ranks of those who keep the show going with their crisp digital dollar. You can also contact through Patreon if you so desire. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. There will be a link to all of these in the show notes in case you missed it. We'll be back soon with more updates, or I will be, or somebody will be on this stream here on this channel. We should have a DC Slate info any day now. So until then, keep it classy and keep some DC on your screen.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.